It's a quiet, peaceful night. The stars twinkle in the vast sky, and the full moon shines brightly, casting its silvery glow over the world. It's been there for billions of years, a constant companion to Earth. But then, something impossible happens. Without warning, the moon vanishes. Not a slow fade, not an explosion, but an instant, complete disappearance. The sky is left eerily empty, and for a moment, everything seems unchanged. But beneath the surface, something has shifted. At first, you might think, so what? After all, the moon is just a giant rock floating in space, right? But that couldn't be further from the truth. The moon is far more than a celestial ornament. It is a fundamental force shaping life on Earth. Without it, everything from our nights and tides to our seasons and even our planet's very stability would be thrown into chaos. So, what exactly would happen if the moon suddenly disappeared? How long would it take before we felt the effects? And more importantly, could humanity survive? Let's find out. The very first thing we would notice is the darkness. Right now, the moon reflects sunlight, illuminating our nights. Without it, nights would be pitch black, especially in rural and remote areas. City lights might keep urban areas somewhat bright, but outside human civilization, the world would be plunged into an eerie void. This has huge implications, not just for humans, but for the millions of species that have evolved with the moon's glow. Nocturnal animals like wolves, insects, and sea turtles depend on moonlight for hunting, navigating, and reproduction. Birds that migrate at night use the moon as a reference point. If the moon were to suddenly disappear, their behavior would be thrown into chaos, leading to widespread ecological disruptions. Even humans would feel the impact. Studies suggest that the moon affects our sleep cycles and moods, possibly influencing biological rhythms. Would an absence of the moon lead to more sleep disorders, stress, or even psychological effects over time? Scientists are still debating this, but one thing is clear: our world would never feel the same. But darkness is just the beginning. Something far more dramatic is about to unfold. One of the moon's most critical roles is controlling Earth's ocean tides. The gravitational pull of the moon creates the high and low tides that we see every day. But if the moon were to disappear, those tides would shrink to about 1/3 of their current size, driven only by the sun's weaker gravitational force. This would be devastating for marine ecosystems. Many species, from crabs to fish to coral reefs, rely on tides for survival. Without them, coastal habitats would be thrown into disarray. Birds that feed along shorelines would struggle, and entire food chains would collapse. But it's not just marine life that would suffer. Humans depend on tides too. Fishing industries that rely on tidal movements would face collapse, and communities that depend on the ocean for food and trade would see massive disruptions. Even more concerning, tides play a role in regulating Earth's climate. They help circulate ocean currents, which in turn influence weather patterns. Without strong tides, ocean currents could slow down, leading to more extreme weather conditions, stronger storms, prolonged droughts, and unpredictable rainfall. And as bad as this sounds, we still haven't even reached the worst consequence of the moon's disappearance. Right now, Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees, and this tilt is what gives us stable seasons. The moon plays a crucial role in keeping this tilt steady. But without the moon, Earth's axial tilt would begin to wobble unpredictably. At first, this wobble might seem small, but over millions of years, it could become extreme. Some scientists predict that Earth's tilt could shift anywhere from 10 degrees to a wild 45 degrees. That may not sound like much, but it would be catastrophic. Some regions would experience never-ending summers, while others would be trapped in permanent winters. The balance that makes agriculture possible would be destroyed. Countries that depend on stable growing seasons could face massive food shortages. Imagine Antarctica turning into a lush rainforest while the Sahara Desert becomes covered in ice. Sounds like science fiction. Without the moon's stabilizing effect, this could become a terrifying reality over time. The consequences would be devastating for humans, animals, and the very structure of civilization. Entire nations could collapse as they fight for habitable land and food. But there's still more. Because without the moon, Earth isn't just wobbling, it's becoming more vulnerable to space dangers. The moon isn't just a pretty sight in the sky, it also acts as Earth's shield against asteroid impacts. Over billions of years, it has absorbed countless meteor strikes that could have otherwise hit our planet. Without it, Earth would be completely exposed to space debris. While our atmosphere protects us from smaller meteors, larger ones, like the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs, would pose an even greater threat. If a large enough asteroid hit Earth, it could trigger massive wildfires, tsunamis, and even a nuclear winter, a period of darkness and cold caused by dust and debris blocking the sun. Even beyond asteroid threats, the moon helps stabilize Earth's orbit around the sun. While the impact wouldn't be immediate, over millions of years, Earth's orbit could change just enough to push our planet into a new ice age, or even make it too hot for life. At this point, one thing is clear. The moon is more than just a lifeless rock. It's a guardian that keeps Earth in balance. So, if the moon suddenly disappeared, would humans be able to survive? In the short term, yes. We would adapt to darker nights and weaker tides,